Horrific lineage. The twisted bloodlines that spawned America's darkest families. Greater than, the sins of the fathers shall be visited upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation. Exodus 20:5. Introduction. Blood never lies. America, a nation forged by revolution, built on dreams, and haunted by shadows. In its long and turbulent history, few tales disturb us more than those of families where evil seems almost inherited. These are not mere anecdotes of crime, but chilling chronicles of bloodlines seemingly cursed, where generations are tainted by darkness, murder, madness, and secrets that refuse to stay buried. This is the story of 3 such bloodlines, true stories drawn from dusty court records, confessions whispered in cell blocks, and the folklore passed from grandmother to grandchild. Their names are sometimes forgotten, but their horrors remain. Prepare yourself. Once you glimpse the monstrous roots that run through America's soil, you may never see your own family tree the same way again. Part 1. The Whitlock Legacy, Murder by Inheritance. Chapter 1. Seeds of Darkness. In the Appalachian Hills of Western Virginia, the Whitlocks built their fortune in timber and coal. By the late 1800s, the patriarch, Erasmus Whitlock, had become the region's wealthiest man. But behind the grandeur of Whitlock Manor, neighbors whispered of cruelty, beatings handed out to workers, disappearances of rival businessmen, and a first wife who vanished one winter night, never to return. Erasmus remarried quickly. His new wife, Margaret, bore him 3 sons, Thomas, Edward, and Samuel. Locals noted Erasmus favored Thomas, the eldest, and raised him in his own ruthless image. Chapter 2. Brother against brother. By 1910, Thomas Whitlock had taken over the family's timber business. Edward pursued politics, and Samuel turned to the church, perhaps to escape the family's reputation. But blood ties proved stronger than faith. When Erasmus died, the reading of his will shattered any illusion of unity. Thomas inherited everything. Edward and Samuel received nothing. On a stormy October night, Edward confronted Thomas at Whitlock Manor. Accounts differ on what happened next, but when dawn broke, Thomas lay dead at the foot of the grand staircase, neck twisted, eyes wide in terror. Edward vanished, and was never seen again. The authorities blamed the storm, or Thomas's own drunkenness. But in private, family servants whispered of an argument turned fatal, and a curse Erasmus himself had unleashed. Chapter 3. The Children. Thomas left behind 2 children, Charles and Vivian. The family quickly packed up, leaving Whitlock Manor to rot. But the darkness followed. Charles Whitlock, Erasmus's grandson, grew up to become a traveling salesman, and, as police later discovered, a serial killer who murdered at least 7 women across 3 states in the 1930s. His sister Vivian retreated from public life, becoming a recluse. In 1952, Vivian died in the family home, apparently from starvation. Investigators found she had filled her journals with rambling notes, visions of blood, whispers at night, and confessions that our blood carries the devil's mark. Chapter 4. The Last Whitlock. By the 1970s, only one Whitlock survived, Charles's illegitimate son, Robert. Robert Whitlock tried to escape the family name, living quietly in Ohio. But in 1979, he was convicted of murdering his wife and 2 children in a fit of rage. At his trial, Robert claimed he heard voices, the same voices his great-aunt Vivian described in her journals. His final words before execution chilled the courtroom. Greater than, it's the blood. You can't run from it. The Whitlock name ended there. But some locals still say that if you stand outside the ruins of Whitlock Manor at night, you can hear those voices, carried on the wind. Part 2. The Blackwoods, Madness in the Mansion. Chapter 5. The Eccentric Patriarch. In the late 1800s, across the state line in Maryland, Ambrose Blackwood made his fortune in shipping. Wealthy, charming, and cultured, Ambrose was known for lavish parties and his private library of occult books. Guests whispered about the special room in the Blackwood mansion, kept locked at all times. Some claimed Ambrose held seances there, others said darker rites took place. His wife, Eleanor, bore him 4 children, Henry, twin daughters Clara and Cora, and the youngest, Abigail. Chapter 6. Shattered Minds. In 1903, tragedy struck. Eleanor died suddenly, rumored to have fallen from the balcony during an argument with Ambrose. Henry, just 16, withdrew into sullen silence. The twins, always close, grew obsessed with spiritualism, convinced they could contact their mother. By 1910, the twins rarely left the mansion, and Henry had taken over the family business. Then, inexplicably, he burned the shipping fleet to the waterline. When arrested, he babbled about voices in the walls. Declared insane, Henry spent the rest of his life in an asylum, sketching endless images of the Blackwood mansion, always with demonic shapes lurking in the windows. Chapter 7. The Sisters' Pact. Clara and Cora, now in their 20s, became infamous for their eccentricity. They dressed identically, refused to speak to outsiders, and were seen only in the mansion's upper windows. In 1924, Clara died of an apparent poisoning. Cora insisted it was suicide, part of a pact to free them both. But Cora lived on, growing more isolated. Neighbors heard chanting from the mansion at night. In her diary, later found under the floorboards, Cora wrote, "Greater than, our line is tainted by madness. It ends with me, but the voices, they promise otherwise." In 1931, Cora was found dead, her wrist slit, in the same room where her mother had died. Chapter 8. Abigail's Curse. The youngest Blackwood, Abigail, had married and moved to Baltimore, seemingly escaping the family madness. But her son, Jonathan, killed 2 classmates at age 15, claiming voices told him to do it. Jonathan later hanged himself in his cell. His suicide note read, "Grandfather's promise is fulfilled. The Blackwood mansion still stands, abandoned. Some ghost hunters claim the air inside feels thick, oppressive, as if something unseen watches." Part 3. The Granger Blood, From Piety to Bloodshed. Chapter 9. The Holy Patriarch. In rural Kansas, around 1890, Reverend Elijah Granger built a congregation that grew into a small religious empire. His sermons thundered with visions of hellfire, and his followers believed the Grangers were chosen by God. Elijah raised 5 sons, each groomed to become preachers. His motto, "A Granger serves God or dies." Chapter 10. The Sins of the Father. Privately, Elijah ruled his household with cruelty, beatings, forced fasts, and public humiliations. Rumors of correction rooms spread, but the faithful refused to believe. By 1915, Elijah's eldest son, Matthew, denounced his father publicly, revealing abuse that shocked the community. Days later, Matthew was found dead, shot in the chest. Officially ruled a suicide, many suspected otherwise. Elijah's other sons, terrified or loyal, stayed silent. Chapter 11. The Cult Within. After Elijah's death in 1920, his second son, Jeremiah, took over the church. Under his leadership, the sermons grew darker, emphasizing purity of the bloodline and punishing sin with violence. In 1932, a young woman named Ruth, married to a Granger cousin, was found beaten to death in the family home. Her death, too, was ruled accidental. But diaries later revealed she feared the night gatherings, strange rituals Jeremiah held in the barn. Chapter 12. The Granger Murders. By the 1950s, the Grangers had splintered. Some fled, others clung to the family compound. Then, in 1961, horror erupted. Amos Granger, Jeremiah's grandson, murdered 6 people in a single night, his wife, children, and 2 neighbors. In court, he ranted about the blood crying out, and claimed his grandfather appeared to him in dreams, urging the slaughter. Convicted and executed, Amos left behind a final letter. "Greater than, we can't escape what we are. God himself branded us." Chapter 13. Aftermath. Today, the Granger compound lies in ruins. Some descendants change their names, trying to erase the past. Others speak of nightmares, of seeing Elijah's face in mirrors, and of an unshakable dread they cannot explain. Epilogue. What lurks in the blood? What do these families share? Generational trauma, mental illness, or something darker, an ancient curse, passed through blood? Science speaks of genetics, psychology of trauma. But for those who lived through these horrors, explanations offer no comfort. All that remains are ruined homes, forgotten graves, and stories that echo through time. And perhaps, as you read this, you might wonder, what secrets lie hidden in your own family tree? Author's note: the families chronicled here, the Whitlocks, Blackwoods, and Grangers, each show how darkness can echo through generations. While some details come from folklore and rumor, the core tragedies are recorded in old newspapers, court transcripts, and private diaries. History warns us, blood remembered.